Welcome to Evermore Love. Hello, kindred spirits and late-night listeners. If you're joining Evermore Love for the first time, oh, what a treat you're in for. This is the haven where stories wrap around your heart like a favorite scarf on a chilly evening. Tonight, we're stepping into something profoundly moving. I Stayed With Him for Them, an English story that explores the quiet sacrifices of love, the pull of family, and the fire that reignites when all seems lost. Picture a woman torn between her weary heart and the wide-eyed dreams of her children, choosing to fight for a forever she once believed in. Get comfy, maybe light a candle, and here's the deal. Stick with me till the very last word. Your full watches are what breathe life into these tales. And hey, we're tantalizingly close to that 1K subscriber milestone. If this story stirs your soul, hit subscribe, like, and share to help us cross it. Together, we'll unlock a world of more emotional journeys. Ready to feel it all? Let's dive in. In the rolling hills of Maplewood, a town where maple trees stood like ancient sentinels, their leaves turning fiery reds in autumn, Clara Hawthorne had built a life that looked perfect from the outside. At 34, she was the heartbeat of her home, a cozy Victorian with gingerbread trim and a wraparound porch that creaked under the weight of family memories. Clara's auburn hair was often tied in a loose bun, strands escaping like whispers of her untamed spirit, and her blue eyes, flecked with gold, held the warmth of sunlit meadows. By day, she ran a small bakery called Sweet Haven, filling the air with the scent of cinnamon rolls and vanilla dreams. By night, she was mama to twins, Lily and Leo, 6-year-old whirlwinds with their father's dimpled grins and her infectious laugh. Her husband, Ben, was the steady oak to her wildflower, 36, broad-shouldered from years of carpentry, with sandy hair that curled at the nape and hazel eyes that crinkled when he smiled, a sight rarer these days. They had met 11 years ago at the Maplewood County Fair, amid the whirl of cotton candy machines and carousel lights. Clara, 23 and fresh from art school, was sketching portraits for extra cash, her easel splashed with the chaos of laughter. Ben, hauling lumber for the fair's new stage, paused when he saw her capture a fiddler's soul in charcoal strokes. "You've got magic in your fingers," he'd said, leaning against her booth, sawdust dusting his flannel shirt. She looked up, smudged with graphite, and quipped, "And you've got strength in yours. Bet you could build a castle from toothpicks." That sparked it, a summer of stolen picnics under star-pricked skies. His calloused hand enveloping hers as they danced to fireflies' glow, whispered confessions on hayrides, where he'd trace her palm and vow, "You're my forever, Clara. The kind that doesn't fade." Their wedding was a barefoot affair in a wildflower field, vows exchanged with the sun as witness, rings simple bands etched with "Always Us." Lily and Leo arrived like miracles 2 years later, chubby-cheeked bundles that bound them tighter, their nursery a riot of painted stars and lullabies sung off-key. But love, Clara learned, could fray like an old quilt under relentless wear. Ben's carpentry business boomed, contracts pulling him to sites across the state, leaving sawdust trails and empty chairs at dinner. Mornings blurred into routines, Clara juggling dough needs and diaper changes, Ben stumbling home at midnight, bone-tired, collapsing into bed with a mumbled "love you." Romance withered in the cracks, forgotten anniversaries marked by takeout instead of toasts, her sketches gathering dust while his tool belt gleamed. The twins, oblivious at first, began asking, "Where's Daddy?" their small voices slicing her heart like fresh-baked bread. By their 8th anniversary, the strain showed in the hollows under her eyes, the way she'd stare at the porch swing where they'd once swayed for hours, dreaming of travels they'd never take. One rainy evening, as thunder grumbled like an old grudge, Clara sat at the kitchen table, steam rising from chamomile tea, while the kids splashed in puddles outside under Grandma's watch. Ben texted, "Stuck in traffic. Late again." She typed "It's okay," but deleted it, fingers hovering over "I miss us." Instead, she whispered to the empty room, tears salting the tablecloth, "How did we become strangers in our own home?" Doubt bloomed like weeds in an untended garden. Friends whispered of fresh starts, of love that didn't require maps to find its way back. Clara imagined it, a life unchained, sketches turned to galleries, mornings without the ache of solo bedtimes. But then Lily would climb into her lap, braiding her hair with clumsy fingers, declaring, "Mommy, you're my safe place," and Leo would echo with a hug that smelled of crayons and earth. For them, their wide-eyed trust, their giggles that chased shadows, she stayed. "I stayed with him for them," she'd tell her reflection in the bakery's foggy window, the words a vow and a wound. Sacrifices piled like unsold loaves. Her dreams deferred, nights spent folding tiny socks while loneliness curled cold in her chest. The breaking point came in the dead of winter, when snow blanketed Maplewood in hush-white silence, muffling the world's clamor. Ben's truck skidded on black ice during a late-night drive from a job site, crumpling against an oak like a discarded sketch. Clara got the call at 2 a.m., the hospital's fluorescent buzz searing her vision as she raced through flurries, heart hammering like a trapped bird. In the sterile room, amid beeps and antiseptic sting, Ben lay pale and bandaged, a gash above his brow, ribs cracked like fragile promises. The doctor murmured of miracles, no spinal damage, just time and rest, but Clara saw the fragility, tubes snaking like accusations, his hand limp in hers. She stayed through the long nights, curling in the vinyl chair, her hand never leaving his, whispering stories of their fairground spark to coax him back. "Remember the carousel. You won me that lopsided bear," said it'd guard our dreams. When his eyes fluttered open, hazy with pain meds, the first words cracked from dry lips. "Clara, the kids?" She nodded, tears spilling hot onto their joined hands. And in that vulnerability, the dam burst. "I thought I'd lost you," she sobbed, forehead pressed to his knuckles, the scent of hospital bleach mingling with his faint sawdust tang. "And us. We've been lost for so long. I stayed for them, Ben. For Lily and Leo. But God, I miss you, the you who saw me." He squeezed her hand, wincing, eyes clearing to that hazel crinkle she adored. "I know. I've been building everyone else's homes, forgetting ours. Chasing paychecks like they'd fill the holes I left." Confessions flowed then, raw as winter wind. His fear of failure, rooted in a father who'd walked out when bills loomed. Her ache of invisibility, the way motherhood's joys masked a woman's fading fire. Heartfelt apologies wove through 4 drips and monitors. "I'm sorry I made you carry us alone," he rasped, thumb stroking her wedding band. "You're my anchor, Clara. Let me be yours again." Recovery was a slow thaw. Ben came home to the Victorian, the porch swing dusted off, twins clambering onto his lap with drawings of super daddy trucks. Clara baked his favorites, oatmeal cookies crisp-edged, memories baked in, while he mended in flannel pajamas, reading bedtime tales with voices that made Leo snort and Lily beam. Challenges lingered. Physical therapy sessions where pain twisted his face, financial strains from lost contracts that had her dipping into savings. But in those trials, romance flickered back to life. Evenings found them on the swing, twins asleep inside, wrapped in a quilt stitched from their wedding fabric scraps. Ben would pull her close, lips brushing her temple, murmuring, "Tell me what you dream now." She'd sketch lazy patterns on his chest, castles by the sea, galleries in sunlit lofts, and he'd listen, really listen, his steady breath syncing with hers. One spring dawn, as dogwoods bloomed pink against the hills, Ben led her to the backyard, where he'd carved a heart-shaped bench from reclaimed oak, initials intertwined like vines. Kneeling despite his healing ribs, he held her original ring, polished, beside a new pendant engraved, "For us, always." "Clara Hawthorne, I was blind to your light. Marry me again, not out of habit but hunger. For them, for us, for the life we rebuild brick by kiss." Tears blurred the petals, falling like confetti, her yes a breathless bloom as she pulled him up, their kiss tasting of salt and second chances, bodies swaying like the fairground dance that started it all. Their renewal vows came under those same dogwoods, a small circle of loved ones witnessing as Lily and Leo scattered petals, giggling. "I promise to see you every day," Ben vowed, voice thick, slipping the ring on with trembling hands. "To build our home first." Clara, in a lace dress echoing her wedding gown, replied through shimmering eyes. "And I promise to stay, not just for them but for the love that carried us through." Laughter mingled with sobs as they danced barefoot in the grass, twins twirling between them, the hills echoing their joy. In the tender years that followed, A nursery expanded for a surprise baby sister. Ben's business reshaped with family-first hours. Clara's sketches blooming into local exhibits. Their love deepened roots. She stayed, not from duty but devotion. He returned, not from guilt but grace. For them, the children who bridged the gaps, and for the forever they reclaimed, one heartfelt heartbeat at a time. There it is, dear ones. A reminder that love's truest test isn't perfection but persistence. If I stayed with him for them moved you to tears or tight hugs, please subscribe to Evermore Love today for more stories that celebrate the beautiful mess of the heart. Your support is our sunshine. Let's surge past 1K subs and keep these tales coming. Share in the comments. What's one sacrifice you've made for love? Watch fully every time, it all counts. Until next, hold your loved ones close. Warmest wishes.